guys! So, what a way to start off the year. I think it's only right that I take time on my channel to talk about one of the most anticipated shows of the season, which is Space Dandy. Before I start, I will state that these are all my own opinions. If you don't agree with them, then that's absolutely fine. But I'd be really interested to know what you guys thought about the show as well, so don't forget to leave comments down there if you have opinions on Space Dandy. And there's a lot to talk about with Space Dandy, surprisingly, because it's only actually had its first episode air, and there's so much to talk about already. Like, actual production stuff too. It's really strange. So Space Dandy is a 26-episode space adventure from Studio Bones, who haven't really done a whole lot since Blast of Tempest, which started airing over a year ago. And my goodness, can you tell that this is a Bones show? That is something we will get onto later, but wow. The second part, which is probably the most important part to most people who are going to check this show out, is the director. It's some guy called Shinichiro Watanabe, and he's done shows like Kids on the Slope and Samurai Champloo and this really niche show that no one's heard about called Cowboy Bebop. And third and finally, the most interesting part to me is the fact that this actually premiered first on January 4th in America and January 5th in Japan. And it came packaged with a nice little dub too. Oh. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the actual content of the show. The series revolves around the alien hunter Dandy, our protagonist with the pompadour. He travels around space with his robot friend QT in search of new aliens. Upon these new aliens being discovered and registered, Dandy gets paid some money, and that is his whole motive with this show. Getting paid. It honestly sounds from the synopsis that it's going to be the most episodic show ever, which I personally don't really mind because I like episodic shows. It's a format that really works for me. But that's really the show. We're following the adventures of Dandy, a dandy guy in space. What can you really expect from its first episode? Well, it's a comedy, and it's set in space, so you might be able to expect some laughs from it if you like Japanese humour, which, honestly, not my favourite thing. It never really made me laugh out loud or anything like that, but I did smile a bit while I was watching it because I thought it was amusing. It was so stupidly entertaining to watch these ridiculous characters take a trip to Boobies, which is the sort of space equivalent of Hooters, a restaurant if you will. Oh ho ho! I do love a bit of wordplay, gotta say. There isn't really a lot that can be said about the characters at this point because really, they don't have any motive or backstory, and nor do they really need it. They're just good at turning out joke after joke, and that's, I guess, the point of these characters. They're supposed to act like idiots to get laughs from the viewer, and I assume that will work. I may not love these characters right now, but I am definitely looking forward to spending 20 minutes a week with these guys. And what I really want to talk about the most is animation. Oh my goodness, Bones. You are amazing. This show looked absolutely wonderful. Even if the show failed on every other level, I would highly recommend that you check this show out just because it's so bloody gorgeous. It's so good. It was just absolutely stunning. It just had this wonderful aesthetic that was over the top in colour, and its general design was just so out there, I suppose. It was just eye-pleasing. It looked really good, and I haven't had that wow factor in an anime in God knows how long. I really don't know when the last time I've gone, wow, this looks really good. And also worth mentioning, the character designs were also done by the same guy who did the character designs for Star Driver, Yoshiyuki Ito. I love you. So, I'm gonna touch upon the sound really briefly because I don't really want to get too much into it. The music was just so good. It had this really wonderful variety that always fit what was happening on screen, and it was really consistent in its quality, even though it was really varied. Now we get to talk about that sub versus dub thing, and I will state it again, this is my opinion. You have to go and figure this out for yourself. Because I imagine this is going to be a really big point of argument with anime fans, and I'm not looking forward to it. So I've watched episode 1 twice, and I've watched it both dubbed and subbed, and I can say personally I prefer the dub. I thought it was funnier because it was presented to me in a language that I actually speak, so I could understand the comedy a bit more. That is literally the only reason. It wasn't because of acting quality or sound quality or scripting, even though I thought the scripting was really, really good in the first episode. It was just, I found it funnier. However, if you have seen this show, you probably have your own opinions about this and you might disagree with me, and that's fine. And also, if you haven't seen this show yet, you get to figure out which one you like more, because this is the first time we actually have this choice straight away. And it's really exciting for me. I would personally suggest either watching the first episode twice or watching half of it in English and half of it in Japanese, and then you can make up your own mind about which you like more. And since this show has been sent off to America before it even aired in Japan, I think we have to talk about a few things here. Mainly how I think it's going to go down with the Western audience, and again, opinion time. While I think that anime fans are going to get a really good kick out of this because it's funny, it's really good to watch, it's just enjoyable to watch, and it has a really, really good quality to it, and I can really, really see it being given a lot of praise in the future. I have this doubt that this show is going to be good for general Western audiences, which seemed to be the thought that a lot of people had. I doubt this show is going to go over well with normal, non-anime fan people, general public people, television reviewers, whatever. I just don't think that it's going to go down all that well. The reason is pretty much because of the fan service and the fact that there is a restaurant in it called Boobies. While I am kind of immune to this sort of fan service because I have been watching anime for 10 years now, I can safely say that if I didn't know what anime was and I just heard about this show and checked it out, I would be one of those people that thought, yeah, anime's pretty weird, isn't it? Well, I can hope that I'm wrong. I honestly don't think I am. I don't know if it was the intent to bring in new anime fans or just make a ton of money off of merchandising or whatever, but that's what I think about that. And that's all I have to say on Space Dandy. In summation, I think it's pretty dandy, because that joke hasn't been made a million times already in the past week, I'm sure. If you are interested in seeing what the show's about, you can check it out on Wakanim if you are in the UK, Madman is streaming it if you're in Australia, and you can check it out on Toonami in America. But those are my thoughts on Space Dandy. I'm really looking forward to seeing more, but don't forget, if you have opinions on this show, let me know what you think down below. Thank you for watching, take care, and hopefully I will see you guys soon.